Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This is a crazy story. Did you hear about this? The co-founder of Ledger, one of the biggest companies in crypto, Ledger, the hardware wallet, we'll talk about that here in a moment, but he was actually kidnapped and tortured. We're going to talk about what happened in this video. But ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely insane. I thought it was some sort of a spoof sort of thing. I'm not familiar with this X account. But I went through this. I'm going to share with you what happened in a moment. It kind of summarizes so you don't have to read through this whole thing. But this is absolutely crazy. Now, if you don't know what Ledger is, just for context, and this is a cautionary tale. If you are a crypto investor, I want to, before I get too deep into this, let me say a couple things. I want to cover this story because I want you to understand the risk that exists in crypto, particularly when you're doing things like when you're a public figure, people know who you are, or people knows your identity. So I want you to be very careful, and I want to just give you some general safety precautions here in a moment. And at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about some of the investments that I make, which are actually part of my sort of security plan to help keep my security, my crypto secure, my family secure my finances as well. But let's get into this. So David Ballin, if you don't know who he is, he was a co-founder of Ledger. And if you're new to crypto, you don't know what Ledger is. Ledger is one of probably the most well-known hardware wallets that exist out there. They originally started with a product that looked much like this right here. They have these other products today. I actually have never had a Ledger. That's not true. I've had a Ledger. I've never actually used one to secure my crypto for no reason other than I didn't like this style of device initially. The other reason though was they got hacked a few years ago and they got a lot of bad press. But it turns out that when they got hacked, nothing happened, meaning the hack did not, no customer funds were at risk. What they hacked was they got a bunch of names, phone numbers, emails, and the hackers did try to, do a lot of phishing email scams where they tried to email people saying they were from Ledger and that sort of thing, trying to get access to the passwords, private keys, whatnot. And hopefully they didn't have too much success with that. But everybody's funds were safe. The hack could not affect your actual funds, and the wallets themselves were safe according to Ledger as well. To my knowledge, there's been no documented funds stolen as a direct result of that hack. Maybe some sort of phishing scam, but not as a direct result of that hack. However, nonetheless, they're a very reputable company with a good reputation overall in the crypto space. Well, this is the co-founder and former CEO. But essentially what happened was he did really well, right? I thought this was fascinating. I didn't know this. Originally, he launched something called ChronoCoin all the way back in 2014. So this guy's pretty much an OG in the space. And the idea was people bought Bitcoin with a credit card, and then they had the wallet delivered to their door, which, by the way, sounds like an awful idea today, meaning I would not, if I had a wallet delivered to my door, the first thing I would do is remove the Bitcoin off of that wallet because you don't ever know. For example, I've had companies offer to send me hardware wallets for free just to review them on my channel. And so far, I've never done that. But if I did, I would never actually trust that wallet outside of demo purposes because you don't know if someone else tampered with it before you got it. They knew exactly who they were sending it to. When you go to a website and order, when I come here and order, there's no way for Ledger to necessarily know that, this is Crypto Wealth's wallet, for example. So let's manipulate it in some way to make it less secure. But if someone's sending you a wallet, then that's always a risk. I mean, in crypto, when it comes to your money, it's okay to be a little bit paranoid about your money. So the guy decided, hey, let's just start selling our hardware wallets, and this is kind of what they look like. And so that was the start of the company. He had 7 co-founders. They raised $1.3 million. It essentially took off. They exploded, sold over 1 million wallets, ended up with raising $575 million overall. So needless to say, they were massively successful as a company. The CEO eventually, this guy acting as CEO, eventually stepped away from the company, started 2 new startups, which, by the way, that have to do with museums, art, Web3, and VR. It sounds interesting. Doesn't sound like it would ever be as successful, for example, as Ledger. But this is where it starts to get crazy. Now, on my channel, I talk about privacy, and I talk about, for example, I did a video. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll try to link it above. I'll put it in the description about Tornado Cash and what's happened with them recently. This is why Tornado Cash, for example, would exist, because you want to be able to have as much privacy with your funds as possible. Hardware wallet's good. Something like Tornado Cash is a whole nother layer. Before you send to your hardware wallet, send it through Tornado Cash when you could, when it was illegal. It still is illegal, I guess, if you're not an American citizen. But that's what you would want to do because it just gives you an extra layer of privacy. This is exactly why you would want to do that. So this guy started his new startups. There's a bunch of spoofers using his phone number, trying to basically steal people's money. He says, "Look, I don't work at Ledger anymore. I never call anyone. I hate phone calls." So he's like telling you to be careful. In the meantime, he enjoyed the fruits of his success. He ended up getting a divorce. That doesn't sound like he enjoyed it, but he obviously got remarried as well. He was kind of flexing his home on social media, which, by the way, it's a nice home, but it's nothing crazy or gargantuan or nothing. It's not a Ty Lopez rented mansion or anything. But then Tuesday morning, this past Tuesday, him and his wife were kidnapped in France. The kidnappers had one goal, ransom. But then what they did was straight out of a nightmare. They separated them, drove them to different locations. The criminals demanded ransom from another Ledger co-founder, used WhatsApp accounts linked to Southeast Asia to avoid tracking. The stakes were rising fast. The investigators sent one Bitcoin, $105,000, to buy time while tracking the kidnappers. Meanwhile, the rumors of the kidnapping began to swirl online, but what the police found next was even worse. This is where it starts to get absolutely crazy. Like, this is straight up out of some sort of fiction movie or something. On Wednesday, the police stopped a stolen car linked to the crime. They arrested the driver and tracked another phone to this town nearby. Inside, they found David alive but mutilated. This is awful. So basically, the kidnappers had cut off one of his fingers to send it as proof. And they eventually found David's wife. She was bound up but unharmed. These guys have had psychological trauma. They'll have PTSD probably for the rest of their life. And they ultimately did capture 10 suspects, 9 men and 1 woman, ages 20 to 40. They were part of a larger criminal organization. So this is crazy. This is absolutely nuts. I mean, could you only imagine? So here's what I want to tell you. First of all, most of us aren't this public, right? I get it. I do get it. But we all need to be safe and secure. I know a guy who had about 50,000. I know of. I didn't know him personally. He was a client of a friend of mine. And he had about $50,000 in gold and silver in his house. And one of his quote unquote friends, it was a landscaper that worked for him. They would occasionally sit around and talk when the guy was done working. They were sitting on his front porch talking about the world, talking about financial stability. The homeowner's like, "Hey, you need to make certain you have gold and silver." He's like, "Oh yeah, I got some gold and silver." Feeling like he was talking to a kindred spirit. They started talking about gold and silver, and somehow in the course of the conversation, the homeowner mentions that he's got $50,000 in gold and silver. Long story short, in that scenario, that landscaper killed the homeowner, broke into his house, found the gold and silver, stole it. Crazy. You don't want to be an easy target, and you don't want to be a target of opportunity as much as you can. So this is why privacy is so important. But it also comes down to the type of investments that you make. Because money can't get, if you don't come to physical harm, the next thing that can happen is money can get taken. So a few things, here's some action items for you. Make certain that you have multiple hardware wallets. Make certain that you have those wallets, the private key to those hardware wallets stored and secured safely. Back them up if you need to, meaning by having multiple copies, not on your computer. Do not store them unencrypted on your computer, in your email or whatever. Here's another thing. When it comes to investing, in this channel, I oftentimes talk about passive income in crypto, like legitimate passive income. And I cover those type of investments. What I don't oftentimes say on this channel is I oftentimes will have multiple passive income investments going to different wallets. One of the reasons is because I want to have passive crypto and passive stable coins going to multiple wallets in case one gets compromised. Plus, I always want to have a new source of funds to be able to buy more crypto or to constantly create a new source of funds. Listen, 3 of the investments that I've had over the past 3 years have done extraordinarily well. I was looking at them the other day. I have probably made between 5 and 20x on all 3 of those investments, and they're passive income. So I make hundreds of dollars on the low side and low 4 figures on the high side from some of these 3 investments. And I get paid every single month, every single week, sometimes every single day. And they're real businesses that are earning revenue. That doesn't even include liquidity farming and LPing as well. So you want to look for long-term, stable, passive income investing. And this is something that the meme coin craze has kind of missed. So if you want to learn more about that stuff, then do me a favor and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Listen to me. I think we can all win in crypto. At the end of the day, this is about all of us having the ability to have financial security, financial freedom, and potentially financial independence in the long run. But it's because we believe in a technology that's going to transform the world. I am not here just to flip meme coins. Not that I have a problem with that, but that is a short-term strategy. We're looking for things that are going to create long-term wealth by investing in projects and businesses and ideas and technology that over time will bring something revolutionary to the world. That's what we're a part of on this channel. That's what I believe in. And I believe together we can all win. Thank you so much for watching. Do me a favor, smash that like button, click the bell notification icon, and click all. And if you want to watch the video on Tornado Cash, on what's going on with them currently in the court system, I'll be sure to link that video on the end screen so you can watch that as well. Thank you so much for watching. This is Crypto Wealth. I'm out.